Dum-de-dum-de-dum-dum-dum. Hello, and welcome to episode 532 of Prog Review. And today I'm talking about Penguin Cafe, the Imperfect Sea. It's the third studio album from Penguin Cafe, The Next Generation. Follows Matter of Life and the Red Book, which was out about 3 years ago now. Boy, the time has flown. Yeah, and 2 years before that, it was A Matter of Life. There you go. So anyway, yeah, this is the new one. 50 minutes long, mainly composed by Arthur Jeff. So there are some cover versions on here. Oh, cover versions. It opens with the very, very nice Racer car. Again, it's very much in the style of Penguin Cafe track, one of the like Found Harmonium or Rosa Solis, or I can never say it, in the style of that, where repeating phrases and textures are burbling in the background, working against each other, and I like that track. Nice opening track, followed by Cantorum. We've heard this was actually, you can go and get this as a free download from the Erased Tape sites. I might be wrong. In future times I may be completely incorrect and that may not exist, so don't hold it against me. But it was available. I think that was available as a free download, which is interesting. Now and then we hit track 3, Control. And what you find on this record is there is this is more ambient and lacking definition, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and Control 1 Interlude is one of those tracks where it sounds like it is echoing other Penguin Cafe tracks like Now Nothing, which is on the B-side, but you go, oh, that sounds familiar. There's a hint of the familiar about it. And this is followed by the first cover of the day, Franz Schubert. Franz Schubert, not Franz Schubert from Trans Europe Express, by that there, the Kraftwerk. Indeed, it's the self-same one. Yeah, curious and curiouser. Take the digital and turn it into the analog. That's what we've done here. They do it with another track, the last track on the album. So yeah, they turn the digital into analog. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it works that well. I mean, it works, but it's Kraftwerk, So yeah, we flip over to the B-side. We have Half Certainty, again another nice track. Protection is a good one. Rescue's okay. And then Now Nothing, which is another cover version, if you can call it a cover version, because Arthur Jeffs is actually doing a track from the old Penguin Cafe Orchestra by his father, Simon. Yeah, I mean, it's nice, it's pleasant enough, but it lacks the plaintiveness of the original. It's a bit more. This is more straight ahead. The original had, I think it was Simon Jeffs doing the backing vocals. There were vocals on the original, even though it's just sung vocal line. But that's lacking from this. And again, when you're so used to the original, It does kind of jar you somewhat, but it's pleasant enough, and you wonder what it's doing here. You wonder why it's sitting amongst these other tracks, because I don't feel that the Penguin Cafe needs to refer back to the past in this context, but maybe it fits in with doing the cover versions. I don't know. I just thought it was a bit of an oddity on the record. I thought it was a bit strange. And then we have Wheels Within Wheels. Again, another interesting cover. This is by a band called Simian Mobile Disco. And I thought this one actually worked a lot better than Franz Schubert. Again, if you've heard the original, it's a piece of electronica. Again, it's bloopy and bleepy. And here they've turned the digital into analog. I think they even in the press release said this was a collection of analog dance songs, which is a bit curious, because I think you'd have a bit of a hard time dancing to Control 1. I suppose if you had, some sort of billowy, diaphanous dress on, I think you might be able to get away with it, but you couldn't pogo to it, could you? You couldn't pogo to it. It's a pleasant enough album. It is pleasant. They've ditched a lot of the world music influences, from South America and Africa. That is completely wiped out. This is the European album. This comes from very much a European standpoint. Hence, we have Kraftwerk and Simian Mobile Disco here. It's an interesting album. But, the things that made the original Penguin Cafe Orchestra interesting is when they built in those other elements, those other cultural styles, and they've kind of thrown that out here. You had an element of that, excuse me, on the Red Book and A Matter of Life, but this is them striking out in a much more European direction, more classical direction. Again, that's fine, but it kind of removes part of the blueprint, the interesting part of the blueprint that made the PCO. But that's not to say it's a bad album. This is just me waxing lyrical about what it means to be the Penguin Cafe Orchestra and what it means to be the Penguin Cafe. It could be that Arthur Jeffs is striking out. We're going to sail the ship in this direction, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe we've gone from homage, pastiche, parody into original waters, but there's still that Penguin Cafe DNA here. So it's hard to leave that behind when you, especially like stuff like Rice Car and Cantorum. They would be very well at home on a original PCO album. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I've listened to it a lot. It's one of those, I've put it on a few times. I've enjoyed it. I like it. I like it. But yeah, it's a funny old one. Like I say, we're going more into the ambient world, and I don't know how I feel about that. Because I'm just going to say it's nice. And when I say things are nice, that worries me. Only biscuits are nice. It's a good album. I'm not sure if it's a natural progression or what. I don't know. I have to hear another one if they bring out another record. See where they go with that. But certainly worth checking out if you're a fan. Certainly worth checking out if you're a fan, because I think you'll go, oh, that's interesting, especially if you're a fan of the old stuff as well. I think you'd be quite interested, but it does float off a bit. This is the problem. It is a little bit, if you're not a fan of the ambient, if you like your meat and potatoes, you might find it a little bit too fey for your tastes. Personally, I like the ambient music, so it doesn't offend me in that way. In terms of a rating, this is it. I said that the Red Book lacked a bit of detail, and then they brought out an album that lacks even more detail. But I felt it was more. I thought it was more cohesive, and that I feel like I'm contradicting myself. It feels more of a again. They're finding their voice. They're that it's a more of a cohesive record, even though there are a couple of covers on Franz Schubert, you know, I could live without. But I thought Wheels Within Wheels worked a lot better. Now Nothing, you know, really. Maybe there was another track in the box you could have replaced it with. I don't know. This is me just being a very hypercritical Penguin Cafe Orchestra fan, you know. So that's where I'm coming from. But in terms of a rating, I mean, what's it? Oh, I'm gonna give this. Oh. God damn it, I'm going to give it 4 Franz Schuberts out of 5. That's 4 Franz Schuberts out of 5. And it's just, I don't know, there's just it had a different feel to it. Like I said, it felt a bit more cohesive than the Red Book. Don't get me wrong, I really like the Red Book, but in some places I do feel they were trying too hard to be the Penguin Cafe Orchestra. Again, I feel like I'm contradicting myself. I'm a man of confliction. But yeah, do give it a listen, because it's a very pleasant album. You know, I mean, like I say, I thought it was marrying ambient with, like I say, this chamber orchestra, classical kind of string vibe, you know, minimalism. That's what we got here. And yeah, more minimalism and ambient with strings. Wow. But I'm just happy that we have another Penguin Cafe album. I'm easily pleased. And on that, I think I'll wind up there. I've been talking about the Imperfect C, which I believe is actually coined from something that Simon Jeffs used to say, which I think, again, is a lovely tribute to his father. Again, I'm very forgiving, because I really do admire what Arthur Jeffs is doing here. I have an admiration of that, you know, to take on that burden, that work, you know, it takes broad shoulders. But yeah, so I've enjoyed it. Do check it out. Don't forget, you can check me out on the old social media. I'm on the old Twitface. Don't bother to Google Plus. Patreon.com/lock. Music.darrenlock.com if you really must. And we'll call it a day. There's only one more thing to say, apart from, it's not prog, Darren, it's not prog. Well, fuck you. You didn't watch the bloody nicer videos, did you? So you get to listen to this album instead. And on that, prog on.